it's me, I'm back. Hi everybody. So my first video that I wanted to do in my language development series is talking to you about one of the things that I think is the most basic and most critical about our children's communication. What I'm about to tell you is absolutely geared towards students on the autism spectrum, but hopefully you'll see by the time I'm finished that it really can apply across all development and all humans. So just in time for Easter, I want to talk to you about something that I have called eggs in a basket. So I'm sure this can be represented in metaphor in lots of different ways, but I find this one to be one of the most clear and most easy to understand. So what I want you to think about, your children's brains as being composed of three major parts. Now, there are obviously other parts, but I think most things that our brain does falls under these three areas, especially with our little guys. So the first basket, if you will, is the sensory motor basket. So I am a terrible artist. You're just gonna have to accept what I'm drawing as baskets and eggs. The second one is emotions. And the third one is language. These are not necessarily in any particular order at all, just the order that I wrote them on the board. So in the sensory motor basket are things like what the sensations the child is taking in, how their body is moving, what the sounds are, how they're processing the sounds in their environment, the lights, proprioceptive senses, all of those kinds of five sense things: hearing, sight, smell, touch, those sorts of things, okay? In the emotions basket, obviously, a little self-explanatory, are all of our feelings, how we're dealing with the world as far as are we happy, are we sad, are we mad, are we cold, those things. And then the third basket is language. So how are we communicating our thoughts and feelings, or how are we understanding the words that are coming in from outside, and how are we taking those words in, processing them, and putting our thoughts back out in the world. So for some kids that is talking, for other kids that's using their assistive technology device, or signing, or using pictures. There's lots of different ways that language can manifest itself besides just speaking. I always want you to remember that. So when we are calm and happy and normal and in stasis, we have eggs in every one of our baskets, okay? So right now, I'm feeling pretty normal and calm. My body feels good, nothing's overwhelming me, I feel pretty happy, and I'm able to communicate clearly to you, okay? There are times, though, in our lives when things get messed up and we have an imbalance of eggs. There are eggs that end up in the wrong baskets, and that can affect how all of this happens, and especially this. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example that happened to me the other day. I was cleaning my house, and my daughter, who I love, please don't take this to mean that I don't love my daughter, I really do, but she came downstairs. She was super proud of something she'd done in her room, and she wanted me to see. Now, I have to be honest, this whole quarantine situation has been very tough for me. I am very extroverted. I like people, I like hugs, I like being out and about. I have not been okay being stuck in the house. So I have been at a heightened emotional state already, all right? I am heightened emotionally. I am already stressed because I'm trying to clean the house, which I hate to do. And then my daughter, who I love and is very creative, wanted to show me something. She'd made a cloud in her room, so she said. So I walked upstairs and I walked in her room, and the manifestation of the cloud in her room was thousands of minuscule little foam balls that had come with one of her dollhouse toys. Thousands of them were just all over the room, on the floor, on her bed, everywhere. And these things were not easy to clean up. I was furious. I was already elevated, and then I walk in and I see this and I lose it. And I start crying. At that moment, all of my eggs, all of them, were in my emotions basket. I wasn't speaking coherently. I wasn't doing anything that made any difference whatsoever. I was just standing there and I was crying in front of my poor 7-year-old. I felt immediately terrible, but I couldn't control it. I could not use my language basket, and I couldn't really use my sensory motor basket either. I just had to cry. I just had to get those emotions out. When your emotions basket is full, you cannot access these other baskets. So how that applies to our kids on the spectrum is, if you think about this, our friends, our babies, our kids on the spectrum have very sensitive emotional systems. They get upset very easily. For some kids, this might be a door opens and they don't want it to. For some kids, this might be triggered by a fire alarm that goes off without warning. It might be triggered by an itchy tag in their shirt. It might be triggered by the carrots not being cut in the way that they're used to them being cut in their lunchbox. Very small things can trigger that emotional response in our children. So let's say the door does open when we don't want it to, and all of a sudden, boom, all of our eggs are here. Now, what I want you to think about, not only is this not a time that our students are going to be able to communicate, they're not going to be able to communicate, but they're also not listening to you. They are not listening to you. When all of their eggs are in the emotional basket, this is not the time to reason with them. This is not the time to try and talk to them and say things like, oh, what is wrong? You can't do it in that moment. They don't have any eggs in that basket. What you have to do is just be the calm. You need to be the calm. It's so hard to do, believe me. I know what I'm asking and what I'm saying is not as easy as it sounds. And I don't do it right all the time either. But over the years of doing this gig, I've learned a little bit about how to better be the calm so that they can then calm themselves down. So your job when they get all of those eggs into the emotional basket is to, number one, stay calm. And then you have to help them redistribute those eggs. So let's say one way that your child calms down is in the sensory motor way. So you can give them some deep pressure, right? And put some of those eggs back in the sensory motor basket. And in addition, you can also give them some verbal choices. Are you sad because something hurts? Or are you sad because the door is open? So giving them some of those verbal choices that they don't have access to can help them put those eggs back in to the language basket. Okay, so that is, in short, my theory about eggs in a basket. This can also apply in the sensory motor realm as well. A lot of our kids get very, very overstimulated by lots of stuff going on. So if all of those eggs are in the sensory motor basket because they're overloaded by sounds and sights and things going wrong, again, you have to be in charge of the eggs. You are the egg keeper. You are the egg protector. And you need to figure out how you can help them redistribute those eggs to the emotional basket and the language basket. So one example of how to distribute them back to the emotional basket is, of course, to give them that sensory pressure that they need, the calming music, the calming voice, but you can also kind of give them some options and say, I know that you are upset. I can see that you feel sad, or that you feel angry, or that you are uncomfortable. I can see that. Let me help you. I can help you. I'm an excellent problem solver. I say that to my students all the time. I say, Mrs. Jackson is an excellent problem solver, but you have to let me help you. So we can redistribute our eggs to the emotions basket, and once again, you can give them their language eggs back by offering them choices. So if they're overstimulated because of noise, you could say, do you need headphones? You could give them a choice between headphones or turning down the volume. You could give them a choice, do you need squeezes? Giving them those choices will help put those eggs back in the language basket. Okay, so that's my theory about eggs in a basket. I hope that that visual and maybe that concept can help solidify some thoughts for you if your kids get into that place. Just remember, generally speaking, you are the egg keeper, and your job is to help your child redistribute those eggs back to the basket so that they can reach a state of calm, so that they can communicate in their most optimal way. Okay? I do have a handout about my eggs in a basket theory. If that is something that you want, I can send to you. But if not, no, I will not be offended. I just hope that you took something away. So I will work on another video to come out in the next few days. I hope this was helpful to you. Stay well, everyone.